Tune into Nice Radio every Saturday at 7:30 a.m. for A View from the Outside, hosted by Brereton Horne. A View from the Outside takes a look at key issues affecting St Vincent and the Grenadines and gives a global perspective on how these issues are viewed. Host Brereton Horne will examine a variety of topics to enlighten, stimulate debate, and explore solutions. Hear the facts, hear the real-life stories, hear A View from the Outside. Join Brereton Horne at 7:30 a.m. every Saturday on Nice Radio for A View from the Outside.
This society needs a spectacle. It might help us to see some evil. This society needs a spectacle.
On A View from the Outside this week being the 11th of March, 2023, we look at Depleted, D-E-P-L-E-T-E-D, Depleted, with the view being that attention needs to be paid and action taken by the people of St Vincent and the Grenadines pertaining to the way the fund of the National Insurance Service, the NIS, is constantly being depleted. The Britannica Dictionary defines depleted as to use most or all of something important. And it goes on to state that to deplete is to greatly reduce the amount of something. That definition tells us that when something is depleted, most, if not all of it, is used up or exhausted. When something is depleted, the amount left is greatly and significantly reduced. There is a nervous feeling in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that the NIS funds are being used at such a pace that eventually the funds will be depleted altogether. This would mean that many thousands of workers who have worked all their lives and paid into the fund with the intention of securing a pension will be left adrift with no financial means of survival when, in retirement, they would need it most. It is because of those grave concerns of the people, as well as the numerous requests that we here on A View from the Outside, why we have decided to cover this topic today. Vincentians are concerned about the depleted NIS fund, and the people are talking about it. Those directly affected are annoyed, distressed, and gravely concerned about the depletion of the NIS fund. They are gravely concerned because they have come to realize that they are paying into the fund which may not exist to provide for their financial survival during their days of retirement. Vincentians are concerned and are left to wonder how they will get by if and possibly when the fund is completely depleted. During the last session in Parliament, in answering a question from a member of Her Majesty's opposition, the Minister of Finance pronounced that on current trajectory and in the absence of intervention, the NIS fund is predicted to be depleted by the year 2033 to 2036. That prediction has been frightening. That prediction is frightening. Frightening because that is just 10 years from now. Frightening because many thousands of Vincentians who have worked diligently, steadfastly, and tirelessly to preserve their financial future may well find themselves struggling to survive during that period of their lives when they hope to live in happiness, peace, and security. Frightening, because some of those who inflict the pain and uncertainty upon Vincentians will no longer be around in 10 to 13 years' time. Some may have gone to the great beyond, while others will have moved on, leaving Vincentians to suffer in retirement. It has been said that such a calamity is one that is brought on the people of St Vincent and the Grenadines by the government in the country. That being the case, the time is now for the people of St Vincent and the Grenadines to hold those in government accountable for inflicting such a calamitous disaster on them. It has been said that the disaster started a long time ago and that the government was warned not to arbitrarily dip into the NIS fund, because in doing so, the fund will be eventually depleted. They were warned by renowned economists, including the Honorable Arnim Eustace, the former leader of the opposition. They were warned, but they did not listen. They are now accused of having brought the disaster facing the NIS and the Vincentian people. And that is so because they were the ones who illegally withheld contributions which they deducted from workers and not pay over those deductions to the NIS, which they were legally obliged to do. Following that exposure of their illegality, they were then accused of having borrowed from the said NIS to pay back the NIS, thus furthering the accusation that they further contributed to the NIS funds being depleted. They have also been accused of having dipped into the fund without restraint, and that they used the money for things which the fund was never intended, including building hotel or hotels. It has been said that if ever there is a time for Vincentians or for the Vincentian people to stand up for themselves and demand that the depletion of the NIS fund be stopped, that time is now. This is not the time for the people, for you, the Vincentian people, to sit back and hope that someone else does it for you. You must do it for yourself. You must hold those in government accountable. It is your future that is being messed or interfered with. It is your future that is now in limbo. It is your future, and it is incumbent on you to secure your future. Just a few days ago, on Wednesday the 8th and Thursday the 9th of March, and continuing into yesterday and today, over 1 million people descended on the streets of Paris and other towns in France to protect what they say is their government's failure to preserve their pension fund. They are unhappy that their government is proposing to raise the pension age. And one would remember that raising the pension age was one of the proposals mentioned recently in the Parliament of St Vincent and the Grenadines. The French are unhappy that one of their government's proposal is that an individual will now have to work for 43 years before that individual is entitled to a full pension. They are unhappy, and because of that unhappiness, they are on the streets of their country in droves, protesting their government. People from all walks of life are on the streets of France protesting. Young people, including students, are on the streets protesting. They are protesting because the current proposals by the government will affect them and their future. They are unhappy, and they are not sitting down and just accepting what is being thrust upon them by their government. The people of France are doing something about it. Vincentians, what are you doing? What will you do to protect and secure your financial future? Sitting back and doing nothing will not solve the problem for you. Waiting for someone else to do it will not solve the problem for you. You must do it for yourself. If you do nothing, they will not stop. They will continue to deplete your NIS fund. Your NIS will not be there for you when you need it most in retirement. If you do and say nothing, your NIS will be depleted altogether. Until next week, this is Brereton Horne with a view from the outside, with a reminder to send your feedback, as usual, to aviewfromtheoutside@hotmail.com. You can also get us on Facebook at A View from the Outside and on YouTube at JMB Horne. Have a pleasant Saturday. Have a wonderful Sunday and have a productive week ahead.